some troubleshooting issues. I am going to go ahead and confirm that my audio is working before I get going here. Hopefully it won't make me wait forever again. Alright, looks like I think everything's in working order here. I am going to go ahead and mute that self so I'm not listening to myself echo. Hopefully my little stream chat is actually working this time. Alright, looks like we have audio, looks like everything's going good. Forgive me, I've been out of the game for like 2 years now. But anyways, since my last video managed to be a full hour without sound, I'm just gonna try to do it again here. Hopefully it will be as interesting as last time. I'll certainly be lacking some of the same enthusiasm I had, as I'll be trying to just redo things. But that's alright. So, to talk about what we're actually doing here. So Cards and Castles, great game. Been having lots of fun with it recently. For those that remember Duelist, I used to be pretty big into that. Cards and Castles is quite similar to it. So it's been a lot of fun. I highly recommend it. Anyway, so I'm here today because somebody asked for a showcase video of my recent deck that I took to top 100 in my first week of play. Today is day 7. So it's currently sitting at 3,200, pretty well. It's red-green, aka, or no, sorry, it's red-white, aka pirates and druids. At its core, it's all about using Bestial Rage as rampage effect, or Dwarven Scope, paired with Troll Gunner or Doom Ship, to be able to allow them to attack things from a safe range, including the castle, which is fairly devastating and wins games a lot. I picked Troll Gunner and Doom Ship as my ranged choices because despite their drawbacks, they are just the best stat-to-cost ratio you can find, and that is just really what we need right now. So the rest of the deck is sort of playing on curve. We've got lots of global buffs, which both buff up our ranged units as well as, our handful of early game units, and of course the rat hovel, which can be a win condition all of itself when mixed with buffs. We run just a couple handful of beast here, mostly because they are just good units in general, but more importantly to actually reliably get that +1/+1 off of Bestial Rage. And then, of course, we're running your go-to companions as our building answers and to give us some aggression, as well as just a dab of card advantage and utility there. So that's what the deck's all about. It's fairly simple, but it's effective. It's a deck you really need to be patient with and wait for the right opportunities, and I'm going to be copping out a little bit here today and not playing the properly ranked version because I have a habit of performing terribly when I'm on streaming. So instead I just made the exact same deck a second time here, and I'm going to go ahead and grab a couple games on the ladder with it. In the previous stream I had a 100% win rate, but let's see if we can repeat that and have as good a showcase as last time. So let's see if I can find the deck again. Alright, there it is. Alright, as you can see, the proper version is 32. This one is still, as of yet, unranked. But let's just dive right into it here. And while that's searching, I'm going to go double check the stream, make sure things are working. Don't tell me I have a dead stream again. Well, luckily matchmaking's taking its time. Hopefully I can confirm that Twitch is still cooperating, that my internet hasn't taken a dive. We certainly seem to be getting throttled a lot lately. Well, luckily the queue's taken its minute, but so is Twitch. Well, just bear with me. It's been a few years, and even when I was pretty into this, I was sort of a bare bones streamer. Double check the stream. Make sure okay, good. Twitch is still cooperating. Now, alright, back to the task at hand here. The queue might have borked. Usually when I'm waiting for more than a minute, I find just cancel and try again tends to do the better trick. But I suppose while it's working on that, we can go talk about the deck a little bit more. I think I covered things pretty well, but I can sort of go over each slot while we're waiting. So, get Bestial Rage, one of the deck's key cards. Lumberjack is a card that basically every single deck ever wants to run. It's just incredible. Hey, thanks for stopping by, Gods of Exodus. I hope that is a genuine comment and it isn't just crashed on us again, which is certainly possible. But anyways, the game has started here, so let's get going here. Alright, so we like seeing Doomship in our starting hand. The rest of this, not so much. We really want to find a Master Thief or some early game stuff. So, so far the hand's definitely a little awkward. Everything working technical-wise? Alright, hey, we drew a Lumberjack, so that's good. That's exactly what we want to see. Master Thief is the ideal turn 1 play. Lumberjack is the close second. So, anyways, so back to the game at hand. So I like controlling the middle of the board. It just gives you the most options. We are up against blue, so we do need to try and play around lightning, so that we want to avoid grouping up. I'm just going to hold on to our metal. We'll probably be playing a turn 2 Doomship. So this deck is all about sort of just waiting for the right opportunity to do things. You are not often the aggressor, although by the nature of being a buff-based companion deck, sometimes you can be. So, for now, we're just going to try to clear off his board, throw down our ship. So first things first, let's kill the Scorpion and see what we draw before making any final decisions. Plus, we'd rather our castle take damage than anything else at the moment. So, yeah, we're going to go ahead and get this Doomship out because it really takes a while to get rolling. Unfortunately, because we're against blue, I have to make a tough decision here. I could play around lightning by moving the ship up, but as he is on 3 mana, I don't have to worry about Lightning Blade. I'm less worried about lightning this turn, so I'm going to just leave the ship here, since if I move it up to be safe, it's going to take too long to get into position. So right now we're just going to keep letting our castle get beat up on, because we need to be willing to let our castle take a few hits early on to get the ball rolling here. I'm going to go ahead and just... Sure hope this is still working. Ooh, 60 kilobytes a second. That is not good at all, is it? That is really unfortunate. I hope that isn't accurate, but it might be. Perhaps I misunderstood Oh, right, no, yeah. I didn't misunderstand Thunderstrike, I just forgot to play around it. So, that's my fault here, dealing with... Anyway, so we're just gonna kill that off. Not a lot of another option to do. So, definitely gonna hurt if that punches our building. I could play... So I think we're going to go for Ramirez first, so it guarantees the buff that I want. Then I'm going to place the Ram out of range of that and throw the Lumberjack here in the way to body block. I am very okay, at least the stream has returned to uploading at a pathetically slow speed, but it's something. Today seems to be just a day rife with technical difficulties. So, I'm not sure if it was a mistake or not, because, well, no, it was. Letting the ship get punched by that Thunderstrike was definitely a mistake. I should have moved it up, because I had to spend a turn moving it anyways this way, so that was definitely a mistake. I'd like to think if I wasn't streaming, I would have performed a little better. Back to the turn at hand. I think we're just going to onslaught that White Knight, so it doesn't end up really costing us later. Okay. So right now we're just going to sort of bide our time, wait for the right opportunity to really do much else. So we move the ship in, it's going to be in range to get punched. If we move our other units in, I do need to now play around Lightning Blade, so unfortunately I am going to have to pull the ship up to a position I don't really want it to be in, but that's just sort of the nature of playing against blue. Sometimes you have to put yourself in an awkward position. So we're just going to bide our time, hang out here. You know, that's going to hopefully bleed to death here. Its lifesteal can keep it alive, but it's at least far less of a threat. Drawing a card's never a bad thing either. Okay, it looks like we're at least back to a normal upload speed here. So we're really hoping to find ourselves a Dwarven Scope at this point, so that, given we don't really want to put it on this damaged one. Alright, there's our Dwarven Scope, so that's good. We've got all the pieces we're going to need. But we're still certainly in a very awkward position here. Let's see. I think what we're going to do is we're going to scope up. We're going to, unfortunately, not get the buff off this, but we want to be able to pull him back into safety. So we're going to kill that, and then we're going to get that rampage, which will let us just also kill that, so our ship is no longer in danger. I need to play around lightning, so I can't really group things up. This guy's just sort of on a suicide mission here, but I also am actually going to play around Thunderstrike here and not let him hit multiple things this time, like I had the misfortune of doing earlier, since I was a touch distracted. Anyway, so we're back on track despite a few early misplays. You know, we're just sort of biding our time, allowing our castle to get beat up a little bit, while we are waiting to just try to set up a... that Freezor is definitely going to hurt here, but hopefully we can kill this thing. Alright, so let's see if we do a Elvish Thief. That's 3 damage, but then he'll be at 6. So unfortunately it looks like the only way to kill this thing is going to be to sacrifice my blacksmith to do so, which is definitely not ideal, but we can't afford to let that thing continue to exist between its self-buffs and that freeze cloak. So it was an unfortunate sacrifice that had to be made, but we really want to, we've invested pretty heavily onto this Doom ship, which is not ideal since he's also playing red, so it is in that danger health zone, and we've done a lot of investment. Again, that was largely in part to my early screw-up of allowing it to hit my Thunderstrike when there was no reason for that. But as usual, this is exactly why I'm playing not the actual version of the deck, because I am terribly prone to making little silly mistakes like that. He's definitely getting some work out of those drained lives. Alright, so I think we will go ahead and just double down on the buffs here. Hopefully get that thing's life alive again. Let's see. I can't afford to pull it down. Well, I guess I can, because it's a little risky. Anyway, so I'm doing my best to play around lightning here, trying to keep things from being clumped up. Pulling the ship down is a bit dangerous, because if he has Drake Dance or something, then I'm just giving him a free kill. But his hand is empty, so I think it's worth the risk to start getting this back into position. He would have to top attack a Drake Dance. So, we certainly took an early beating, but we have wrested back control of the board. And he could top deck and punish me pretty hard here, but that's not terribly likely, and we're just, slowly trying to regain control of this game. And the fact that he's in top deck mode puts us in a pretty good spot to do so. If it's possible, I really want to get this thing back above 4 health here. Okay, so we can eliminate this warrior just with a Master Thief. And should be no risk to ourselves. Alright, good stuff. And then we can use our Fat Bard to kill off this annoying building. And now I can either do a Shaman or I can set up another Doom ship. I think we're going to go... And we're going to do the Shaman because the Doom ship's just going to be in an awkward position to play right now. So I'm just going to play the Shaman and put it in the middle row so it can threaten the castle next turn. With no cards in his hand, we're not really worried about him being able to get something with lightning in range, because red and blue don't have any naturally fast cards. He really need a 2-card combo to be able to immediately threaten me. So we're in a pretty good position now. I made a couple small mistakes early on, but we've recovered nicely. So I'm just going to go ahead and move this in. I'm going to start moving Doomship into the position. Going to go ahead and take out this fellow here. And now I can either play 2 Spinies or the Armory. I'm going to go for the 2 Spinies since we've already got double buffs up, so we're not even afraid of a Dragon's Flame killing our Spinies. That also gives us the benefit of being able to play another Doom ship. So this game is pretty well over now, despite a few early misplays, but I was patient, I was careful, I focused on controlling the board, and was willing to make early sacrifices to gain a strong late game position. Sadly, that was about the best target he could have hit with that Headless Horseman, but again, I think he is too far gone. So I'll go ahead and play another Armory, and that there alone is game. Certainly having some bad lag issues today, which is unfortunate, but hey, at least there is audio this time, unlike the previous hour, which is important. So when I spent a whole hour streaming without any audio, of course I had no lag then, but now that thing's, something always goes wrong. Either way, let's go ahead and grab another game here instead of me whining about my technical difficulties. Now, while that's queuing, I'm just going to come over here. It was an unfortunate sacrifice that had to be made, but we really want to. Oh boy, that is running really far behind, isn't it? Ship. Oh well. Which is not ideal. So rather than obsessing over my extremely poor stream quality, I'm going to just go back to talking about the deck a little bit more. So we left off with Lumberjack. Lumberjack is just one of those. Basically, every deck wants to run him. He's incredible. So Master Thief is another incredible one-drop, and that most importantly allows us to get those turn 2 Doom ships. That's the main reason. Turn 2 Doom ships is what this deck is all about. Because the earlier your Doom ship drops, the better off you'll be, because you'll have longer to get in position or to defend your base with it. So that's a big deal. Turn 2 Blacksmiths is not bad either, too. Like Master Thief turn 1 followed by Blacksmith, that's just a free 3 attack there. So Elvish Thief, just a really good 2-drop. Again, can accelerate our game plan a bit. And, just 2 mana, 3/2 is really good. It's a very strong defensive unit. Or often, it does lots of stuff. Anyways, back to the game at hand. So we like seeing Lumberjack, but the other things we want to see are Master Thief and Doom ships in our starting hand. So, Lumberjack, controlling the middle portion of the board, just gives you the most options. And we'll call that good. So so we're just gonna go ahead and gold out this Blacksmith just because we don't really have a lot better to do. Slam this into the castle's face because very little reason not to. I'm going to go ahead and move the Blacksmith down to the bottom. Should have probably played it there in the first place, but I don't want him doing some sort of sneaky, lots of extra movement to get over there. Not likely to happen, but may as well move Blacksmith down here to a bit of a safer position. I don't really like playing Fat Bard with a field like this because I don't have a ranged unit to really camp on. If I play him now, he's going to slow me down. But, I will do it if I don't have another option. Spinies. Unfortunately, there's no way I can get Spiny in reach of there. So instead, we're just going to... not ideal. Don't really want to play a Fat Bard in this position. But that's okay. We're going to go ahead and just sort of camp our side, wait for the right opportunity. Hopefully he'll move the Pyromancer up into Spiny range, and then we'll be in an okay spot. We're not going to be able to play any of our 4-mana plays next turn because of Fat Bard, but what we're hoping for is he'll move this up, and then Spiny can take it out. So we're just biding our time. Haven't seen any of our signature ranged units that the deck's all about, although, we do have that Dwarven Scope for when the time comes. I really don't want to play a Spiny just that can't reach anything. Let's see. Now I could use the Spiny to kill the Imp, but then I'm just sacrificing the Spiny to the Pyromancer, and companions are pretty valuable, all things considered. So you don't want to use them casually. Sometimes it's better to just conserve your resources and wait than it is to use your gold the most effectively as you can. It feels pretty bad to waste gold, and most of the time you really do want to be trying to make efficient turns. But right now we're in a position where we really don't want to waste our Spiny, because just killing that 2 damage really isn't a threat. And if we use Spiny to kill that, that's just giving a free kill to the Pyromancer. We'd much rather save the Spiny to actually kill the Pyromancer or a building. So we're just going to hang tight and do absolutely nothing this turn. We've had a very, very awkward opening here, but that's okay. This deck is all about just biding your time and waiting for the right opportunity. The only times you tend to be aggressive are just if your hand is curving naturally into, Lumberjack, Master Thief, Spiny, and specifically if you're up against something like a late game yellow deck and you really need to be aggressive. Alright, so let's see. So 2. So Centaur is big enough to kill that Dire Badger, which we definitely want to do, because if we let that buff up, that could be a problem. So we need to get Centaur in range here, which means we have to put somebody at risk. I think I'd rather put the Fat Bard at risk. Let's see. Just because he's hurting my gold. So if I have to sacrifice somebody here, it'll be Fat Bard. So we'll use this companion to go ahead and wipe out that badger before it becomes a real problem. So again, not ideal, but we're just being patient, waiting for our time. We've got that troll gunner now, so we're going to be wanting to set up troll gunner and dwarven scope. Ooh, that definitely hurt us pretty bad. Lost all of our global buffs, but it's nothing we can't recover from. We're gonna take some tower damage here, but that is not the end of the world. Yeah, I think it is time just to start. So I've got my choice between either Griffin or setting up my Troll Gunner. And I think I'm going to opt for the Troll Gunner just because I don't mind taking a little bit of extra tower damage. And I really want to start setting up this Dwarven Scope play, because that is how we win the games. Because that is Pyromancer, unfortunately, we're going to have to put him in a bit of an awkward, less than ideal spot. We really want him where he's getting ready to threaten in the middle, but that's okay. Right now, we're still just trying to set up and get ourselves into a position that we can start really taking advantage of that Dwarven Scope plus ranged unit. So, we're very likely to get some castle pummeling this turn, but that's okay. We can afford to take some castle damage in order to regain control of the board here. He's being very cautious with that Pyromancer. What I'd really like... Oh, yeah, I think we're just going to have to sort of sit here with our gunner, kill that off, and I could set up another troll gunner, but that's going to tax our gold too much. I think my best option here is just probably set up another doom ship out of range of this Pyromancer. Yeah, so we'll just camp right next to our castle with our other doom ship here. That's out of range of Pyromancer, barring ninja movement shenanigans, but there's not much we can do about ninja movement shenanigans. And then, even if he does shoot at the ship's going to shoot back. So we're just, hanging out. We will set up our Dwarven Scope play soon, but, we don't want to rush into it, especially because both ninjas and warlocks are pretty good at removing stuff, so we don't want to overinvest into a single unit unless we're going to get a lot of value out of it immediately. Now, there's a chance that we are about to just get horribly wrecked by buffing Ronin with movement and doubling his attack. There is a chance we might just lose the game this turn, but unfortunately, that wasn't worth the risk of that happening. Ooh, that hurts. That hurts a lot. That may just do us in. Because ranged is my only good answer to first strike, which is usually a pretty dang good answer. However, I just lost all my ranged. Can I get Griffin big enough to... Nope, unfortunately I have no global buffs. I don't have the mana to... Well, I suppose we could have a desperate measure of Dwarven Scoping something to kill this Ronin. Unfortunately, we don't have anything with 4 attack that we can play at the same turn as Ronin. So 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Oh boy, yeah, we are likely just dead next turn unless... Well, alright, here's what we're going to do. And unfortunately, I timed out because I spent too much time talking. I was gonna wipe that field with the Beast Rage Spiny, but unfortunately, Streamer's Curse got... Oh, okay, I was dead no matter what. Alright, well, I feel a little better that it wasn't just my fault for talking too long and timing out, that he was going to multi-strike my castle and there just wasn't much to be done about it. So, again, that was a unfortunate match. You can't win them all, but he drew really good answers, and I had a really awkward slow start. Sometimes that happens. I certainly didn't play perfectly either, but I don't think there was much I could have done to win that matchup other than, myself drawing better or him drawing worse. And sometimes that just happens. There are certainly a couple things I could have done better, but I can't win them all. Just gonna check on my stream health here again. Oh boy, that is really far behind. But hey, at least things are working this time, for the most part. Audio is functioning. So, certainly not the same quality as my first attempt here, but that's alright. Okay, so this is pretty good. We'd really prefer... We'd really like to see a Master Thief. I really want to keep Doomship in scope. It's a tough choice between Thief and Hovel, but I think we're going to go for Hovel for that incremental value. I probably should have just actually kept Thief there, just so I could turn 1 Hovel or turn 2 Thief. So that was probably a bit of a mistake. Hey, but I got the Lumberjack, so I will take that. Definitely a little awkward. So we could Lumberjack this turn, or we could Hovel this turn. But if we Hovel this turn, then we're left with only Lumberjack next turn. Yeah, I really should have just kept that Master Thief. That was certainly... yeah, I really just had a good opening hand. I should have kept it. I got greedy and wanted to find a Master Thief instead. So I think we're just going to eat 2 castle damage there. We're going to play the Hovel, and then we'll use Rat and Lumberjack to kill the Peasant next turn. Not an ideal use of our turn 2 mana. It means Doomship's coming out a little bit later, but I think that's fine. I desynced. I couldn't desync back to the starting turn and redo my bad mulligan. Oh well, streamer's curse. You always perform worst when you're trying to put on a show. Ooh, that battle ready's gonna hurt a bit. So now this means I don't get to kill this, and instead I just need to try and protect my Rat Hovel. And pray he doesn't have one of the cheap lightning cards, which he might. If he has a cheap lightning card, that's going to be hard to come back from. But yeah, so for now, we're just trying to keep that thing away from our Rat Hovel, blocking its access. And then we can do a Fat Bard to hopefully finish it off with both or one. Well, it would require both. Well, that's what the rat's for. So should be good either way, unless he plays a lightning card, or I'd ultimately be okay with him blowing a removal on one of my 2 shitty units there and losing the Rat Hovel, because that'd be a pretty heavy investment on his part. But nope. Alright, looks like he just went for castle damage, which we don't mind at all. So now we can just drop ourselves a Fat Bard. We do need to start trying to play around lightning. I don't really like playing the Fat Bards this early on because it messes with your gold, but that's okay. So we're going to trade in the lumberjack, see what we draw here. Not bad. We're going to move this into the center control position, and then we can clean up with this other rat. So lost a lot of castle health, but we don't mind that. That's pretty normal. We are now in control of the board. He's blown a lot of cards. All he's done is taken my castle to 10 health. As long as you have 1 point of health, you are good to go. Given he is playing red, so he might have some burn, but we have plenty castle health left over. So we're still in an okay position. We do need to make sure we're playing around lightning, though. So I could play another hovel, or I could get the Doom ship set up. But most importantly, we need to play around Lightning Blade. Yeah, I think we're going to get the Doom ship rolling here. Not ideal because we don't want to move it down here, but we don't want to get punished too hard by... I suppose I didn't need to because I don't see a way for him to both Lightning Blade and clear this rat. So I probably didn't need to move my Doom ship down there that conservatively, but I'm playing cautiously against blue. We have time to set things up. He's running out of card advantage, so we're just going to be cautious and bide our time here. Oh, that was you in the chat. Took me a minute. I wasn't sure if you were some sarcastic guy because I was having lots of technical difficulties. Okay, yeah, that was the roommate. Okay. All right, so back to the task at hand here. So we're probably just gonna set up an armory. Actually, we're going to Dwarven Scope because that will give us the better ability to play around Lightning Blade. So we're just going to go back to body blocking here. Because again, we really want to avoid getting into the position of him, having a way to kill the rat and then being able to run this up in there, Lightning Blade, and ruining everything. So which could still happen, but now all we're losing is castle health and a rat hovel rather than our entire field. Our castle health is a little low, so we're definitely at risk, but we are definitely taking back control of the board just by being patient. So we're in an all right position. Yep, there's that lightning blade, but he can't really... Oh, derp, it has flying. And I'm dead. Well, so much for all that, I forgot Vampire had flying, so I should have been less concerned about playing around Lightning Blade and more concerned about just body blocking the castle with the rat. Alright, so hey, mistakes happen. I'm not perfect. I am still ultimately fairly new. Again, I like to think that is a mistake I wouldn't have made off stream. But yeah, let's just hop back in. Definitely could have won that one. It was mostly on me that I did not. So, Lumberjack's great in our starting hand. The rest of this, there are things we want to see more. Okay, looking good here. So we can turn 1 Lumberjack, turn 2 Doomship, and that is generally what you want to be seeing. Alright, looking good. Finally have a not awkward starting hand. But yeah, that last game was most likely winnable. I just needed to body block the castle, and then I would have been in pretty good shape. But I made a mistake, and it happens. No one to blame but myself. Of course, I'm going to try to blame the stream, but let's see. So I'm definitely playing the Doomship here. Now, if I move it forward, it's in threat range of that cultist. But ultimately, even if he buffs up that cultist, Doomship is going to be, pretty much the best he could do is Flame Shield, and then they're just tied, and it wouldn't be a really good trade since Doomship is going to shoot back. So I'm going to go ahead and move it forward. Usually I like to be a little more cautious with the Doomships, but I'm just not that afraid of this cultist. I'd rather start getting Doomship into position. So, just going to keep getting Doomship into position here. So I can either drop a Blacksmith, or we can do Ramirez and Master Thief. And I think we're going to go for Ramirez and Master Thief here. Ramrus, however you want to say it. Sequencing's important. Let's see, I want to keep things out of range of Cultist. Let's see. So yeah, let's put Ramrus in the board threatening position, so he can threaten the castle and is out of that. Master Thief, we will just play just out of range of the cultist here. And without blue, we're not too worried about clumping up. Red does have access to a lot of explosion, as well as Flamestorm, I think, the one that does 2 damage to everything in a small area. But we're just less worried about that. So we're just biding our time, setting ourselves up here. So I could play Blacksmith and Ramrus, or I could just play Armory. I think I am more interested in the Armory than flooding the field. Flooding the field is a bit risky versus Red's excess AoE. So we're just going to play a safe backline Armory. And so I need to choose between attacking the castle and sacrificing this unit, but he's not really doing us much good sitting on our side. And with the strong chance of Dragon's Breath showing up and wiping our field, we really don't want to be too conservative with sort of our trash mob units here. So we're just going to start moving them in for the kill. And in the meantime, we're just hoping to draw a Dwarven Scope so we can start getting serious Doomship abuse. The other reason I saved Ramrus rather than doing Blacksmith and Ramrus is, this one's going to die, and it would be nice to have a Beast in hand if I draw Rage. And he is also playing that ranged game for sure. So if I play Troll Gunner, that's going to hurt my hand quite a bit. Or hurt my gold. So I think in this case, while it's putting us at pretty... So I have a choice now between playing around Dragon's Breath or messing with our gold game. But I think we're going to opt to play around Dragon's Breath rather than just sacrifice our Blacksmith to it. I know I was saying I was going to try to just round those in there, but he couldn't reach the castle. Or could he? I don't know. I moved him out of range for some reason. I don't remember now. But either way, we're just going to roll with what we got here. We're just biding our time, waiting for a scope or companions. Once we find our companions, we can start taking out his ranged units. And once we find a scope, we can also start doing some serious work. But in the meantime, we just sort of gotta wait. He's playing the camp his base as well, probably sitting on a Dragon's Fire or waiting to draw Dragon's Fire. At this point, there's no real sense in keeping the Doom Ship back, since everything can reach it as is. So we're going to go ahead and move him up, because I've got a backup ranged unit on board already. We're still a bit concerned about the inevitable Dragon's Flame here that's going to come down and explode our field. So we don't want to overextend too much, but we also don't want to just waste our turn. Alright, so I'm just going to play a safe Blacksmith. And, yeah, I'm going to play him just for the gold. And I'm playing pretty hard into Dragon's Breath here, but I feel I'd rather, sacrifice a couple cards and force him to play Dragon's Breath than basically waste my turn. Alright, well, he's spending removal on the Doom Ship. I'm happy with that. Ooh, Rat King, interesting. I'm guessing, I don't know if he's playing it just because it's a decent card, or if he's playing it because he's doing the bounce. Anyway, I think we're going to bring Gunner on down to the middle here, take out the king, and then we're just going to take out some of these rats. Because again, there's no sense in trying to save my guys, because they're just, they're going to eat it to a Dragon's Breath in the near future here. So now, do I play the Griffin? Or do I just play another Troll Gunner? Tough choice. Playing another Troll Gunner's really going to mess with my gold if he doesn't trade in his Darkbender. So I think we're just going to play a defensive Griffin, because that means he can't engage us very effectively here. I'm going to just move the Blacksmith down one just to play around any potential AoEs. Just going to keep Griffin out of range of these range units. Again, we're just waiting for our scopes at this point. We're at a stalemate. He's waiting for his big AoEs to wrest back control of the board. I'm waiting for my scopes. I think I've ultimately got the stronger late game plan here because, well, I may stand corrected. But he's running out of cards. I'm not, so. So I got a Spiny. So I could use Spiny to take out that Panda, because I really don't want him to be starting to bounce it to his hand. Let's see, so 3, 6, not ideal. We would really rather use Spiny to try and kill his Darkbender, but we're going to have a pretty tough time getting Spiny buffed up enough to do so. So we're just going to kill that Panda to prevent any obnoxious... Why does that have... Oh, right, Blacksmith. Any obnoxious bounce repeats. Let's see. Just play the Master Thief. Out of range of that Darkbender, which will make him trying to move up with the Darkbender, not a good plan. Ultimately, because we got some early damage on his castle, we're going to win just the stalemate game. I suppose if he moves in and attacks on his Darkbender, that changes, but I feel like I feel like I'm in a much better position to just sit and wait. He's just about out of cards. If I ever find my scope, I can start turning things around. He misplayed there, missed a rat spawn. I think we're going to go for Griffin and Doomship here. I think we just have to accept that the Rat King's going to come punch us. Alright, well, I know I just want to move him out of the way. And we know we're going to want to play a Griffin. Fortunately, now I could just body block the Rat King, but then I'm going to eat it to the Darkbender, but you know what? Fine, we'll eat it to the Darkbender. Now the big question is, do I want to allow my Doomship to take 2 damage from this rat and move it up so it can threaten the Darkbender, or do I want to play it safe? But I think we're going to opt to play things safe, just because he's red, he has a lot of ways to do direct damage, so we really want to keep that Doomship's health topped off. So instead we are body blocking our castle with Griffin. That way the Rat King will have to suicide rather than get bounced back to his hand. Now if we can draw a scope, we can just kill that thing straight up. No scope, but 3 attack spiny. Not great. Definitely an awkward position to be in. My best bet's probably just setting up a Troll Gunner. And I think we are going to do the spiny play. It's not great, but I'd rather get that damage enough that another spiny could take it out. So we're just going to get our Troll Gunner in play here. So he'll likely suicide the Darkbender onto one of my ranged units, but he won't be able to do both. I'm going to just save the Ramrus right now because there's very little benefit in actually playing it. So benefit for playing it is minimal. Having a card in hand makes them wonder what you have. And more importantly, this lets us save it for a Beast Rage or something. So, again, we're still just trying to bide our time for scope. I think we'll just play the backline Hovel and start just working on that incremental value here. We just have to accept that rat's going to punch our castle, but we don't mind that. Nope. So we're both back to the top deck waiting game. Sudden Death's going to kick in pretty quick here, so castle health is about to start getting important. But ultimately, I still have a long time before I lose to Sudden Death, and I suspect I'll be able to get a scope or companion to finish his castle off before it's too big of an issue. So obviously we're going to shoot that and clear that. But then what do we do with our Griffin? So it's definitely going to eat it 5 points to that Darkbender, but I think I'm definitely playing the Griffin. It's just a question of... So if I put it right here in his face, that will allow me to move my Doom Ship up. I don't mind him trading the Darkbender and the Doom Ship. Well, no, if I move the Doom Ship up, it's going to get hit by the Lumberjack no matter what. So instead, we're just going to plop this here to guard our base and force him to advance a little with his Darkbender. Advance into scope range, most importantly. And again, we're just going to hang on to Ramrest because there's no benefit in playing it right now. So having a card in hand makes him wonder what I have, and, it's just better to save it at this point. It's definitely been an interesting match. Alright, I think I've still got the leg up here, but we'll see. He could do some pretty crazy things with Triple Throne there. Ooh, yeah, that's going to be real spooky when that comes back down into play here. 10, 11. Ooh. I may be about to lose after all. Yeah, because he's going to come punch my base, and there ain't a lot I can do about it. I can try to hold him off with Centaur here, but... Alright, Doom Ship needs to move up. This rat needs to move up. This needs to move up. Yeah, basically our only hope is to pray he can't kill this Centaur. If he can, he is just gonna shoot me in the face for game. And unfortunately, I just never found a scope, which happens. I'm gonna play this thief. Plays into Dragon's Fire, but if he has Dragon's Fire, we've lost the game anyway. So at this point, we need to start trying to put some pressure on. Right now we're just praying. There are a lot of ways he could kill me this turn. A lot. But yeah. Oh well. That was a pretty fun game. Well, he managed to pull off super cool Darkbender, so props to him. Like, that was a pretty awesome Darkbender play there. So he got his fancy combo before I was able to find a scope. And, sometimes that happens. Of course, Streamer's Curse on the stream that's actually working. I haven't been doing so great between mistakes and some unfortunate matches. Obviously, the deck has performed well enough for me to get to 3,200. Just you can't win them all. Between me playing a little, quite a bit sloppier on stream and just some bad luck, it happens. But ultimately we've had some good games here. One game I absolutely could have won. Another game I don't think there was anything for me to do about. And then that last one, I think I made a couple, small misplays, but nothing game-breaking. I think that last game, there just wasn't much to be done about it. It just came down to he got his big finisher, and I didn't. Scope doesn't sound like a big finisher, but boy, is it a big deal. I will often replace it turn 1, just because it's a while before I need it. But you never know. We're curving out real nice this game. So let's see what we draw here. We got our turn 1 Lumberjack, our turn 2 Elvish Thief. Looking pretty good. We have a turn 3 play, but we really don't want to play Fat Bard on turn 3. We will if we don't have another option, but he really messes with your gold game. But Fat Bard, buffing up that Elvish Thief. Okay, no, actually it's looking like a very good play now because it'll let us clear off that Earth Knight. So not ideal, but not that bad. And our Elvish Thief will make up for the treasure loss we're having from Pat Bard here. So he's playing Knight Warlock, so I'm expecting Luminaris, and so I do need to be very cautious of Luminaris, given sometimes there's not a lot you can do about it, but that's alright. So next turn we're probably just playing Shaman, just to sort of see what happens here. But we'll see what we draw. Yeah, looking like Shaman and Master Thief, so let's start with the Shaman, see what happens. And then we'll follow up with the Master Thief. I probably should have reversed their positions, since Master Thief is just, he can kill Master Thief easily. Whereas if I'd reversed their positions, Master Thief would have been able to run in there more than likely safely, and Shaman would have likely been able to absorb a hit and be okay. So the optimal play would have been to reverse those positions. Again, Streamer's Curse. I'd like to think if I wasn't streaming, I would have done that better, but it is what it is. It's a very small difference. It may end up not making any difference at all, but you know that those little tiny micro decisions usually really aren't obviously a big contribution, but they definitely start to add up in the end. Yeah, see, so I should have definitely reversed those. But that's okay. So I think we're just going to go ahead and slam that into him. I think I'm going to set up another... My other option is Elvish Thief to finish that off, which is solid. Yeah, I think we'll actually go for the Elvish Thief and Doom Ship, because 1 point of damage right now doesn't matter a lot to me, but leaving that thing alive, I just don't like the thought of. So I'm going to go finish that off and start getting our Doom Ship into position. But yeah, so now as you can see, it would have been, I suppose it wouldn't have been too different, because if those were reversed, the Shaman, yeah, no sense thinking about the past right now. Alright, so I think we're just going to onslaught this for the free kill since it bypasses armor. And yeah, now we'll go ahead and drop that Fat Bard. I'm going to move him into the back corner just to play around Luminaris a little bit better. I don't think he could be reached from, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Okay, so he was out of range of Luminaris anyways. For those that don't know, Luminaris is like a, well, it's also 7 cost, I think. Never mind. Luminaris is a high cost card that, when played on a knight, does 4 damage to everything within 2 squares of that knight. So, again, I'm playing around it more than I need to, but that's okay. Alright, so I think we're just going to Dwarven scope it up. Not the... Yep, that looks like our best play here. Just keep controlling the board. And no, red yellow just doesn't have much of an answer to a big 7 ranged unit, so we're just going to basically ride that to the end. The only real good answer they have is just playing something really big, but our stuff's going to keep growing as well. Let's see, let's go ahead and move him back up. So we could play an armory, or we could play an onslaught. I think I'm going to go ahead and just onslaught that Darkbender. That way, if he does trade into the ship, my ship is more likely to survive any direct burn he may have. He has officially reached the point where Luminaris is a threat as well. So I need to run this Fat Bard away from Luminaris range. Let's see. Well, how much Luminaris can you get? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. I don't know if Luminaris would actually hit here or not. I'm not 100% sure on if it does proper range or square range. But I'm going to 1, 2, 3. I'm going to assume Luminaris won't hit it there. I have another Dwarven Scope too. Okay, so yeah, he traded that in, sort of like, well, he may not have traded it in if... no matter what, this is going to come and shoot his base. That's happening. Now I need to decide between Dwarven Scoping and shooting that. Let's see, 5. Okay, to kill it, I'll need to onslaught it as well, but I think that's worth it. I was hoping I could armory in Dwarven Scope, but that just won't quite do the trick. But before we commit, let's see what happens. Wait, this guy doesn't have resolve. Oh, that is a resolve unit. So... yeah, if I shoot it, it's going to survive and then be able to come punch my Doom ship. So, that may have been a mistake. Guess we're just going to play Armory. Yeah, I thought that was a questing knight, not a paladin. They look awfully similar. Guess I should have noticed from the stats, but oh well. Alright. Yeah, okay, so now we're... So, its resolve won't matter now because... I need to think. I need to do a lot of math here. Alright, so I need to shoot that. Actually, I need to kill that with Elven Thief because I have to kill that Furnace Knight. So, I'll go ahead and kill that. It'll die to bleed. And then we'll kill that threat there. And we'll send this over here to finish that. And I don't want... Oh, that was bad. This is gonna suck! Oh, dang it. I missed my Troll Gunner. Crap. Well, streamer's curse again. I don't usually time out at all when I'm playing off stream, but oh well. Missing the Troll Gunner definitely sucks. Let's see here. So I think our best bet's going to go for the Bestial Rage Dwarven Scope play here. Shame I didn't have my Troll Gunner, because then I could have just dealt the Frog Prince. So we're going to Scope. Rage. Going to hop down here and damage this a lot. Then we can come back up away from its range, kill that. And then we're going to run that part away from Luminaris again. And we're going to play the Troll Gunner, which should have been their last turn and should have given us the ability to just kill the Frog Prince completely. But I timed out and it happens. Now we are at a little bit of risk of Luminaris, but Luminaris also won't do that much to us. And now we can very easily kill the Frog Prince next turn. Plus, we've got Rampage range ship here, so we're in a pretty good spot. You know, I've been making lots of little mistakes this game, but it happens. So let's move forward here, buff this up. That way it has enough attack to actually kill that. And then yeah, we can finish off this obnoxious fellow. And yeah, we're in a pretty good spot. Luminaris isn't a major threat. We've still just got massive board control. We're both out of cards, but I have vastly superior field here. And I can't think of much he can do to recover at this point. So, okay, we can Bestial Rage him as well. So he can move here and kill that, as well as then move forward, kill that. He can move up. Need to remember to use Rampage correctly, because if I sequence it wrong, I get in trouble. But attack that, and then... okay, he surrendered. Yeah, there just really wasn't much to be done about those giant ranged boys. Alright, well, we finally had a good game there, despite a couple small positioning errors. So I think I've highlighted the deck fairly well. Fortunately, I didn't highlight it nearly as well as the previous stream. So now let's go ahead and, like the previous stream, let's pull out another deck just for some fun here. This one, it's a Reanimate Mystic Rats list, so all kinds of wacky combos going on. I'll talk about the deck a little bit first. So early on, this was like a Reanimate is just, I saw that card, I basically made it immediately. I was super excited. You know, I used to, back when I played Magic the Gathering, I was a Reanimate player, so I just loved the flavor, loved the card. Unfortunately, so it was one of the first decks I made. I ran in, played a bunch of cheap units, and all of a sudden units are confined. Immediately got hit by Dragon's Flame at my field wipe. Basically never played the deck again. But then I was chatting with Beastly, and major props to him for convincing me to revisit the deck. So basically, the reasons I had such a bad time early on is while AoE can be a little tough on the deck, in its early phases when I didn't have Mystic Rats, it was a lot tougher. Now, if your field gets blown up, you don't really care. You just fill it up again. Your opponent's going to run out of AoE before you run out of field filling units. So the deck has a couple fancy combos. Obviously, there's the usual Mystic Rats, where it largely speaks for itself. For anyone who's not familiar with it, basically, Rat King summons a bunch of dudes, then you move them up and play Mystic Journey and do it again, which in and of itself is decent, but it gets absolutely terrifying when you mix it with Temple of Gods or global buffs. And speaking of Temple of Gods and other global buffs, they just give you a lot of synergy with playing lots of units. So another shout out to Beastly, though, is I made the rest of the deck mostly on his own, on my own, but Beastly convinced me to try out Drake Dance card I hadn't even thought to give a second look at. I'm disappointed in myself that I didn't find its value sooner. I'd like to think I would have discovered it eventually, but I certainly appreciated Beastly pointing it out to me for at least, if not lots of decks, specifically this deck. Because specifically here, it does a lot of things. So, number one, it gives you the ability to reach some backline units or buildings unexpectedly. Number 2, it combos really well with the Reanimate thing, because you can have sort of a field built up in a fairly, in a safe position just out of range, and then you can surprise, Drake Dance, move everything in, suicide it, and pull off an incredible Reanimate play. So the other thing I run that most others probably don't is Reclaim. I run this just because stuff like Temple of the Gods are a really big threat to this deck, so I like to pack an answer. Given it will be a dead card often, and that's why it's the 2x option. So this deck is largely complete. The only thing I really want to change in it is eventually I want to swap out Divine Knowledge for Craxus, and that'll make a big difference. Divine Knowledge is okay, but Craxus just might be the actual best card of the game. Beyond that, the deck is largely finished. I say finished, though. It does have another issue with it, and that would be it's very prone to cluttered hands, like Temple of the Gods, Lightning Blade, Reclaim, Armory, Divine Knowledge, Mystic Journey, Drake Dance. If you have a handful of that stuff, you're going to have a bad time. Given the deck's pretty good at just coming back out of nowhere with Mystic Rats, but it is definitely prone to cluttered, useless hands. So I might end up cutting back on some of the tech because of the hand cluttering. I know Lightning Blade is considered like super S tier, and it's a really good card, but when you're playing against people that are good, they tend to play around it, so it loses a fair amount of its value. Don't get me wrong, it's a very good card, but I might eventually end up like reducing Lightning Blade in number. Probably won't remove it entirely, but I might have to like reduce or remove Lightning Blade, Reclaim. Yeah, like Lightning Blade and Reclaim are really the only flexible slots in the deck. Everything else feels pretty important. So if the cluttered hands problem continues to be a major issue, these guys might get, I might drop Reclaim, reduce. Well, unfortunately, Lightning Blade and Reclaim are both the answers we have to backline threats. Although Temple of the Gods is really the only building we're afraid of, and Lightning Blade can't deal with it anyways. So what may end up happening is it might like drop Lightning Blade to 2, drop Reclaim completely, and just find another unit to toss in, just so we don't have hands as cluttered. But for now, we're just going to play the deck as is, because it's a fun deck with a lot of synergy. It's really strong. It tends to beat just about anything, including AoE decks. Its biggest weakness is itself, because when it draws well, there's not much other decks can really do about it. But when it draws bad, it shoots itself in the foot and proceeds to do nothing and die horribly, because you've got a handful of buffs and buildings that don't do anything with an empty field. So now, in theory, AoE can bother it, but at the same time, assuming you don't have a terrible hand, you usually can just immediately refill the field and be okay. So, it's a fun deck. We'll go ahead and give it a whirl here. Gonna just check on stream health here. Alright, looks like we're doing well. Alright, so we definitely don't want either of these early on. Lightning Blade's not a bad early card, but there's stuff we want more. Like, we really want to see Reanimate early. Like, that's the card that can give you a big swing early on. Generally, while you can use it for just one card, it's not generally worth it, but if you can trade at least 2 units, it's very much worth it. So before we commit to playing guard, we're going to trade here and just see what we draw. More than likely, yeah, no, we're still playing guard. So Rat King, Rat King is good. I don't really like playing him early because he'll mess up your gold, and he's really not great unless you already have some global buffs going on. So I like to sit on him and or even replace him really early on. We don't want to kill that, but both don't want to and can't kill it. Now, oftentimes I will just sort of camp my guys and start trying to set up a reanimate play, but I think I'm going to do 1 damage to it, just so I have the option of destroying it if I really want to. I don't plan on killing it. He's probably not going to be able to hit both of these, so since I moved one up, I may as well move the other one up, since he probably can't kill both anyways. So I may as well have the other one threatening. Probably should have stuck book in the middle threatened spot, but now with that building there, it probably didn't matter. But certainly could have sequenced that turn better. That's alright. Ooh, reanimate. Unfortunately, I cannot suicide both of them. So instead, I think we're just going to play a blacksmith and call that good. Yeah, sadly, I can neither kill the book nor suicide both of them. So instead, we're just going to sort of bide our time here, get some castle damage. Now I need to choose between getting the book into castle range or playing it in the safe spot. With how, yeah, I have his field pretty tied up, so yeah, no, let's just move the book into castle range. I'm going to go ahead and move my blacksmith up into the middle. Not that I actually plan on engaging with him, but I can always pull him back. I can't run him up there if I need him later, since I think he's in a fairly, we're not up against ninjas, so I'm not worried about surprise movement. So he's as safe here as he is just about anywhere. Given, I suppose, there's the red AoE, but yeah. Flamestorm. Yeah, this could definitely be a tough matchup on us, because they're going to be packing lots of AoE. Okay, well, he ran my blacksmith back for me. That's alright. So, we'll just go ahead and rally the town. I've got this Drake Dance, so I am definitely going to play this one in a position that he can't run up and kill it, because I would very much like to be able to get a surprise Drake Dance Reanimate. I don't see any real reason to move my blacksmith from where he's at. I suppose I better, because there is that red card that you target a unit, deals everything close by. So let's get him out of AoE range. Yep, there it is. There was exactly the card I was concerned about. Oh boy, so this is about as bad of a matchup as we could get. It's got plays and the 2-cost AoE, and might have Dragon's Flame as well. So this is definitely rough, but that's alright. So we could rally the town again, or we could set up a book. We could do book and rats. That's not a bad option, but it doesn't feel great either. But yeah, no, let's do book and rats. I don't actually want... I want rat to survive, so I don't want him to be going into the center space. Yeah, let's just move everybody else up. Definitely need to play our book. I want to keep book out of range of that. The question is, where do we want to leave Rat King? We want to avoid Blaze, but we want him, and we want him a little closer, so if we do draw Mystic, he can be much closer for Mystic abuse. good. Hit an unimportant rat. So, but as you can see, we've been getting hit with back-to-back AoEs, and our field is still just both our field and our hand are doing just fine. Temple. Yeah, I think we'll go ahead and play Temple. Let's just clear this off with a basic rat. Let's move him into the threat. We're just going to move this rat all the way up. Going to move Rat King closer, but not into danger. And we're going to, let's see, if he plays Flame. Alright, so you're safe regardless. You're no. Okay, so now we're hoping to draw a Mystic before Rat King dies. But either way, we can still just sort of bide our time. Bender. Yeah, a Mystic right now would be really good. We've got 2 chances to draw it between Shaman and our natural draw. So I can pull this down and do a Drake Dance. Let's see what we draw off of Shaman first, because if we draw Mystic, that could change everything. Alright, no Mystic, so I think we're actually just going to do a Drake Dance to... Do we kill the book? Yeah, let's... Alright, so we're going to pull this down. This is going to run up and smack that. Yeah, let's get the Lumberjack out as well. Alright, yeah, now let's Drake Dance. Okay, well I can't actually hit the book either way, so we're just going to get a little bit of free damage here, and we're just going to run everything up. We do want to keep Rat King out of Darkbender range, which we are. Go ahead and move him to even more safety. And so we've done some damage. Rat King is in a safe position, so we've got the option of drawing into Mystic, which will do tons of work, or alternatively, we might get a good Reanimate play off. Firestorm. Goodbye, plans. But that's okay. As you can see, our hand is doing just fine. That is the 3rd or 4th AoE of the game, and we're still just A-okay here. So let's draw some cards. It'd be nice if that was a Craxus, but there's the mistake. I turned too late, sadly. So we're definitely going to take a castle beating here if I don't body block. So I've got my choice between Rally and Writer, or Books and more draw. I think we're just going to go for the Rally here. Let's put the Scorpion front and center. At this point, we may as well just move well, we do want to play a little conservatively, but nah, let's just move everything up. Goodbye, Temple. So we likely will be able to pull off a fairly good Reanimate turn. Well, maybe. We'll see. Depends if we draw, another unit to go alongside. We don't really want to trade the book in. Okay, so Lumberjack's a good start. So we'll start with Lumberjack and see what happens. 5. So we could go all in on the Reanimate. Yeah, let's do that. Let's get another. hits in here. And then, do we sacrifice the book for the extra reanimate? I've lost track of how many units have died. Yeah, let's sacrifice the book. Let's see, I did book, guard. I think I've only done 4. I don't think I'm wasting anything by playing it here. Okay, yep, I did 4. And now we just move everything up, and boy, that was a big swing. So you better have yet another AoE or he's in trouble. And if I'd pulled any wraiths off of that, then it wouldn't have even mattered if he had AoE because they get too big. But no, as you can see, despite repeated back-to-back-to-back AoEs, we don't care. We just keep filling that field. There we go. Yet another massive AoE. Now we're just really hoping to draw another rat to go along with these things. But fortunately, we've officially hit awkward cluttered hand